Well, always a very, very brave person to come here so soon after a loss in a World Cup. One of the most daunting opportunities I've had in my professional career was, I don't know if Chewy's still here, but I got an invite, I think 2005 maybe, by the NZ Rugby Union High Performance Unit to try and shake a bit of reality into the New Zealand high performance rugby community. I think that was that the year you won the inbound test series against the Lions 3-0. Was that 5, was it? Somewhere around there. And I had a very clear brief from the head coach, it was Ted at the time, and Chewy. They said, we want you to shake up the group. And it was really daunting because in the room were all the senior people, all the senior coaches and staff from the high performance rugby community. And I said, what do you want me to do? He said, I want you to stand up and tell them where they're going wrong after they've just won 3 tests, just destroyed the Lions. And that was pretty daunting, but I can tell you this is just as bad. So guys, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I love talking about sport and parenting and sports parents. I deal with them all the time. I am one. I try to think that I'm not your typical sporting parent, that I'm calm and relaxed and pretty cool at sporting events, and I don't make judgment calls, and I leave the coach. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And I'll show you why. These are my kids. We've just got back from a little bit of a tour. Have a look at the size of those pizzas. They're as big as my 3 kids' heads combined and then some. And that's my son, the little guy with the red shirt on. That's Deanie. Big bad Deanie. That's Hayden, Alex. My daughter, Zenevieve. She's got this really weird thing she's doing at the moment, guys, where she doesn't need glasses, but she thinks that they're a really cool fashion accessory. Haven't even begun to understand that one. And that's us on the Hogwarts Express, and that's us at Ollivander's in Orlando, in Harry Potter World, choosing a wand for the kids, and it was great. And those kids are without doubt the best looking, the smartest, creative, most intelligent, kindest, most polite, respectful. What are you laughing for? It's a fact. These kids are the best kids in the world. Think about your own child experience. Who's a parent? Put your hand up. Guys, think about it. Child comes into the world. Grandma walks in and says, oh my God. Now look, I'm not just saying this because that's my child, but that's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. I'm not just saying it because it's my grandchild, but that's the most beautiful baby that I have ever seen. And they go home and all the relatives come in and pick up this beautiful little baby and all those things and have a good time with the baby's belly, and they're having a great time. And they're all telling you over and over, most beautiful baby I've ever seen. Never seen a baby do that. Wow. And then they go at 2, 2.5, 3 years of age, they go to some sort of prep program. And someone who's paid to look after your children says, look, this is a drawing they did today. I have never seen such an advanced child. Someone who's paid to look after your child tells you that. Your child is exceptionally talented. I've never seen anybody at that age. Well, that's awesome. Your child's so creative and talented. So you go, oh, this is pretty good. And of course, then they go to the pool, they go to the track, they pick up a rugby ball, and there's Dan Carter or Michael Phelps. Because that's what we all want to believe. And you're trying to deal with parents, and you're trying to talk common sense and rational thinking and long-term development and patience. They don't speak that language. All they see is love. All they see is those eyes, those beautiful eyes, and that soul that means more to them than their own life. And trying to be rational with that relationship, guys, just doesn't happen. Well, what I'd like to present to you today is a little bit of a different way as coaches of looking at that relationship and how we can bring parents more into the fold. Now, I know I'm speaking a foreign language here. Well, I am. But I know I'm speaking a language that maybe people aren't comfortable with, because typically in my sport, swimming, parents have been, pay the bills, go away, don't talk to me. And I honestly believe, coaches, those days are gone. Those days are gone. Parents are now our partners. And we need to be working with them as close, or with young athletes, even closer than ever before. And it will pay remarkable dividends for your coaching. I absolutely hate PowerPoint for a while. I'm going to tell you, go home and delete it off your computer. I might just call it quits halfway through if I get really sick of it. I hate it. When I do corporate work, I make the corporates wear a little badge that says "People Against Pointless PowerPoint Presentations," and swear allegiance to never using them. But I'm going to do it today. All right, here we go. So I believe that we're in an era now where we need to have a model where we're embracing parents as partners. I call it the performance partners, where coaches, athletes, and parents all come together and they do their job in the best interest of the athlete, with the athlete in focus and central at all times. So what I want to try and convince you of is what your job is, what I believe an athlete's job is, and importantly, what a parent's job is. And if you are a parent, I make no excuses. This is going to be a very difficult and very confronting moment in your life in the next 10 or 15 minutes. It's not for the squeamish. So why do I think we have to change? This is why, coaches. We used to be the custodians of all things netball, cricket, basketball, rugby, snow skiing. We were the custodians of all knowledge. We knew it all. The only way you could learn about our sport was to take it up as an athlete or as a coach. Now, that little thing in your pocket, or that thing you're using to take pictures of the slides, means that anyone can get anything, anytime, anywhere for free. Parents have access to the same knowledge, the same information, the same drill videos, the same nutrition information. They've got access to the same information that you've got. Keeping them in the dark is no longer an option. They are very much in the light and have access to the information. And they've got this being that they adore, that they would give up their lives for. Do you really think that they're not going to use the information available to try and help their child be better at what they do? To help them maybe achieve a goal, or to help that child perform better, or help that child get selection into a team? Of course they are. Of course they are. We can't stop it. That's gone. We need to find a smarter way of working with them as partners. Coaches, what is your job? Someone quickly, what's the job of a coach? Yes, excellent. Love it. Why am I not surprised? Physical training, this is the one. Coaching is change. People come to us for change. Technical change, tactical change, strategic change, personal development, lose weight, life skills. They come to coaches for change. We are the masters. We are artists in our capacity to inspire change, to create learning environments which facilitate change. And we change through emotional connection. Guys, write this one down. People will forget what you say. 10 minutes after this, you might remember the rugby joke, and that's about it. People will forget what you do. How many times have you gone, and with athletes even, have you gone, I can't believe they've left me after all I've done for them? People will forget what you say. They will forget what you do. People never forget how you make them feel. Right? We are feeling beings. And our art, coaches, our art is the art of change through emotional connection with other human beings. That's what we do. That's who we are. If you want to be a great coach, master the art of change. But this is what we do. All these great things, physical, mental, technical, tactical, leadership, we do all these things. Create a positive learning environment that helps athletes realize their potential, achieve their dreams, enjoy the experience. That's our job. That's what we do. What do athletes do? What do you think an athlete's job is? Anybody? Have fun. Yes, that's one of it. Yep. What else? Guys, I believe the job of an athlete is to do their best when they walk in. That's all I can ever ask of any human being. Just do your best. come in and get the most out of the session, knowing that sometimes their best is not their best. What do I mean by that? Sometimes an athlete comes in and they're not capable of giving their physiological best, but they might be capable of giving their mental best, or their tactical best, or their strategic best, or they might be capable of giving their best in some other element of their preparation. Those of you coming to the session tomorrow, I am a physiologist, so I'm allowed to say this. We are slaves to physiology in this industry far too much. It is so much more than a physical act, training athletes, coaching athletes. Release yourself from the bonds of physiology. I give you permission as a physiologist. Let it go. I should do the song from Frozen. Let it go. This obsession with getting physiology right, quite often at the expense of developing character, teaching lessons, building values, changing lives, has to stop. Has to change. All right. Parents, what's their job? Yes. What else is a parent's job? Drive them to the game, pay the bills, yes. What else? Emotional support, yes. All these things are true. Every parent in the room, stand up. Every parent in the room. Sit down if you've looked your child in the eyes in the last 48 hours and made them know with absolute certainty and without any doubt that they are loved, valued, and accepted unconditionally for being nothing more than your child. That they've gone to bed knowing with certainty that they are loved. Okay. You guys can sit down. Because that's your job. That's the job of a parent. Some of you got complex roles in that you're living in places where you're coaching and parenting and doing 26 other roles. I understand that. But in terms of parenting, that's your job. Is that a child knows with certainty, without any doubt, that they are loved and valued and accepted for nothing more than they are your child. That they are him or her. They are themselves. Not for being a triathlete or a rugby player or a swimmer or a tennis player or an academic, an artist, but they are loved and unconditionally accepted for who they are as a human being. And this is where parents and coaches can work together so well. At one of the breakout sessions this morning, one of the locker room sessions, I went in there and wiped my dirty socks all over the place just to give it a bit of character. Somebody asked me a question about confidence. How do you develop confidence in athletes? And a phrase that I use, and I love talking to people about this, confidence is belief times evidence. Confidence is belief times evidence. What do you think evidence is in the context of coaching and trying to develop the confidence of a young athlete? What's evidence? What evidence are we giving them? Yes. So we're trying to, I often think confidence is a bit like a bucket. And into our bucket, what we're trying, gee, that's a bit scary. Bald spots, look out. And it's amazing that your kids get to a stage and all they can do is find fault in their physical appearance. And they tell you over and over and over. Anyway, it's a bit like being in Australia coming to Kiwis. But what we're doing, that if you imagine that confidence is like a bucket, I'm trying to fill that bucket with what? Training sessions, strength sessions, knowledge, information, skill development, tactical knowledge, competitions. I'm trying to fill this bucket. I'm trying to fill that bucket with evidence Why? Why do I try to do that? What do I want the athletes to do when they're standing on the blocks at national championships? Yes. Well, we want them to say, I can do this. And I can do this because my evidence bucket is full of stuff. It's full of hard training, strength training, technical development, core stability, mobility, flexibility. I'm eating the right foods. I understand recovery. My bucket in terms of the evidence my coach and my program have provided for me is full. I'm confident. I can, we can, they can. Success comes in cans. And that's what we're trying to do. But here's why, and who would disagree that confidence isn't a critical component of successful sports competition? It's vital, isn't it? All those C words, confidence, courage, commitment, are so critically important for athletes to achieve, I believe, ultimate success. But here's a little kicker on it. I can do my job brilliantly. You can do your job to the highest possible professional standards. And you may not create that aspect of confidence you're looking at because there's another part to the equation. And all the research that we've done, and my wife's a psychologist, it saves me some money and medications from time to time and creates problems as well, I think. But so much of how an athlete actually feels about themselves is in there by about age 8 to age 10. And who's the most influential person in their life up to about that age? Mum and dad, parents, carers, yes. I think there's a window where we, as coaches and teachers, are probably the most important and most influential figure, maybe 10 to 12, 10 to 13, probably, depending on the sport, depending on the athlete and the type of program. After that, who are the most important people in their lives, certainly through teens? Peers, yeah. So you've got to try a different coaching model. But up until about 8 to 10 years of age, I have an opportunity as a parent to impact on all those amazing values, virtues, character traits, honesty, integrity, humility, sincerity, courage, discipline, all those things that I can have an impact on as a parent up to about that age. And this is why it's so important to bring parents into the fold now, is to educate them on how important their role is. How important their role is. Because, guys, I believe this, and I've had athletes at international standard, that if we have athletes, no matter how much evidence I throw into that bucket and fill it with all wonderful training experiences and positive learning experiences and enjoyable learning experiences and competition progressions and everything I'm trying to do, and there's that right there, and that little child is still, I don't like myself, I don't care about myself, I don't enjoy my own company, whatever it may be, then that bucket is going to have a huge hole in it. And it's very difficult to fill it. And I talk to parents about this often. I've just did a tour earlier this year with big groups of parents all over the country to make them aware of the importance of their role. All right, let's change pace. This is really going to annoy the organisers, which is why I'm going to do it. I want you to turn your chair around and touch knees with someone behind you, side on, but you need to be knee to knee. Why? Why would I want you to do that? It's uncomfortable, yeah? Why else? You tell your most important secrets to anyone who touches you. Hairdressers, partners, massage therapists, and now the person sitting next to you. Knee to knee. So spread out, knee to knee. It's okay, back to me is all right. So knees to knees, touching. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. All right, if I could have your collective Kiwi attentions for a slight moment. What I'd like you to do to the person that you are now touching, making it a very intimate little room for 500, I want you to tell them your funniest or worst sporting parent story. We've all got a nightmare story, a funny story, a crazy story, an overzealous parent story, a parent who called us at 2 o'clock in the morning, the parent that said, my daughter's 5, she's had one session, can you put her in the Olympic team squad? We've all had the stories, we've read the books, we've seen the movie. Now tell the person that you're touching your best, your favourite, your craziest, or your worst sporting parent story. Off you go. Are you guys touching? It's okay. I'll try that. That looks good. No, it doesn't work for me. It only works for John. I should probably cough. Okay, coaches. Lovely. What a polite group. I've got a parent that I work with at the moment. I coach on the Gold Coast, and I'm having a bit of fun with her at the moment. She's got a couple of young boys that run with my triathlon program, and we've got 2 ovals at the school that I work at. And so here's the car park, here's one oval, here's another oval, and here's a bit of a rough patch over there. And the first day she came down, she got a chair and she put the chair down on the field so she could watch the kids run. That's natural enough. They're fairly young boys. But I've started to play a little bit of a game with her. It's a bit of fun because sometimes we'll only train over here, but she's not going to be defeated that easy. She moves the chair. So I've tried it up here, and everywhere I go, the chair follows. So I've had a bit of fun with it. I just keep shifting it around, and everywhere she is. It's amazing. But a little experiment that I'd like you guys to try is what we've just experienced there. Try that when you go home to your own programs. I work with a group called the Thredbo Ski Racing Club. And they are, just like you'd expect. They're in Thredbo. We do have mountains and some snow. And no one laughed. But we do have some snow, and they're a group, about 100 young athletes, some talented young kids, I think, in the group. And I went in, I did some work with the kids on the snow last year, which was a lot of fun. Getting out there and working on the snow. I know nothing about skiing, but getting out in their context and talking to them about relaxation and performance and some other things. That was good. But one of the things we did, which was one of the most wonderful but challenging moments that I'd ever experienced in the business, was where I got child and parent to sit the way that you've just sat. And I said to the parents, I want you to look into your child's eyes and tell them why they mean so much to you, and that it can have nothing to do with what they do. Can't talk about their study program or their skiing or their football. I want you to look in the eyes of your child and tell them why they are so special to you. We had tears. We had parents just breaking down. We had parents incapable of doing it. No reflection on them. It can be a multi-generational thing because they've never experienced love and acceptance as human beings. But the effect, as some of you know, some of you have suffered mental illness or know people who've suffered from mental illness, the effect of knowing or not knowing how much you're loved, valued, appreciated and accepted for who you are can have incredible effects right throughout your life in performance, and then ultimately with your own relationships. And if you think you can do it, if you think you've got the skills and the capacity and the desire to do it, it's an amazing experience to go through with a group of people. Or even keep it simpler. If you're not comfortable in that space, coaches, we started off the process, we said, I want you to look at your child in the eyes and ask them, why do they ski? And some of them were confronted by that, because they didn't know and they'd never asked. They didn't understand the child's motivation for doing what they do and for the sport they'd invested so much time, money and effort into. And this is so important. I'm going to try something that's never been done, I think, in a conference ever before. But I'd like to do it. Turn your phones on. Or, those of you that accidentally forgot to turn them off, just pull them out. Those of you with children, I would like you to send them a text, and anyone over the age of 3 has got a mobile phone. It was interesting calling the kids Generation I this morning, I for iPhone, I for iPad, I for internet, I for it's all about what I bloody want, they don't care what you want. I want you to send, where possible, where logistics allow, I want you to send your child 2 words, 6 words, 9 lines, whatever you like, telling them you're thinking of them, why you love them, and what it is about them that you value so much. Just take a moment to do it. Such a simple gesture. If your partner's at home, if you've got young kids and your partner's at home, send it to your partner. So I want you to go to young Dean, or I want you to go to young Sally, and I want you to tell them why Dad loves them so much, or why Mum cares about them so much, what it is about them that makes them so special. Get in the habit of doing it as parents. you might have just changed a life. It can be that powerful. Okay. Nothing happened. Can I get the presentation? That's it. All right. So change your thinking on parents, seeing as so many of you are parents. They can be partners in performance. Imagine the role that a parent has in developing values and character, commitment, dedication, time management, nutrition, good eating habits, how to pack their bag. All those incredible skills that they can have influence on, that in turn help the child develop traits of responsibility, accountability, self-drive as they progress through their athletic careers. Never ceases to amaze me that you will go to seminars and people talk, oh, coaches, you've got to motivate. We can't motivate anything. Trying to motivate a young kid is like trying to teach a pig to sing. It'll annoy the pig and frustrate you. We can't motivate kids. We've got to understand their motivation and understand what their drive is, and then provide an environment for them to express their motivation through athletic competition, training, preparation and performance. It's the game we're in. Think about the job that you play day to day. What is your role? Change, emotional connection, inspiration. Job of an athlete. Turns up, does the best that they can do. Job of a parent. More important than any of us ever realised, and more important than they realised. And where we get these conflicts, where we get these relationship problems in that coach-athlete-parent dynamic, is where people cross the road, is where people try to play other roles. Most notably when parents try to coach. You know, I coach a lot of triathlon on the Gold Coast. This is typically what happens. And it's done out of love. I don't think there's any sporting parent I've ever met who's gone, I'm going to do this because I hate this kid. I'm going to do this. I'm going to push them and drive them, and they're going to train every day because I just don't like them. They're acting out of love. They're acting out of... So the triathlon, and Rudy will relate to this, and those of you in a tri will relate to this, that kid says, I want to do triathlon, looks really like a sexy sport, I want to get into it. So mum and dad take them down to the pool usually, they do a couple of sessions there and they buy a bike and they go to their first triathlon and they get wiped out on the run. Mum and dad go, they need some running training. Let's go to a running coach. He says, well, you need 2 or 3 sessions a week, a long run, a fast run and some speed work. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Because I'm helping my child that I love, that I adore, that I would give my life for. Seems like a good thing to do. So they go to the next triathlon and they find out they can't ride a bike. They get on the bike, and they join the cycling club. The cycling coach says, well, you need some hills, you need some long distance, you need some speed work, and then we've got some criterions every Sunday morning with the older guys. So they start doing that. First season, 8, 9, 10 sessions a week, because they love them. Because they want so much for them. Because we love our kids, we want to give them so much, and they just don't understand. But if we bring them in, and we teach them the importance of their role and what their role is, they can be powerful partners and powerful allies in what we're trying to do. With the person next to you, again, what I'd like you to do is this. Everyone will have this story. Oh, Wayne, look, I hear what you say. Interesting presentation, nice haircut. Love the picture of the kid with the pizza, but you don't know my parent. We've got a parent in my team, look, she's awful, the nightmare, in your face, gossips all the time, destructive, pulls down the culture, never listens, doesn't attend. Guys, interesting, when you do parent education sessions, the only ones who turn up are the ones you don't really need to be there. They self-select. You put on a night to improve them as parents, to help them with their kids. The ones who don't turn up are the ones you desperately want to be there. So you've got to change it a different way. But what I'd like you to do is say to the person next to you, I'm going to give you a reason why I can't do this. And the person listening, I want you to come back. I want you to coach them and say, well, I'm going to tell you why you can. Because I've been in the same position. I've had a person like that. I've had a parent like that. And this is how you could do it. So I want you to coach each other through this. So you turn to the person next to you, knees to knees again. Get that immediate intimacy and connection. And say, you know what, I can't do this because Coach them through it. There isn't a place on the planet other than the poles that I haven't done parent education sessions. Russia, Portugal, Spain, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Fiji, Thailand, South Korea, so I'll miss out on North Korea, Australia, even Arnhem Land, North, Western Australia, United States, Canada, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France. There's not many places over the last 25 years where I haven't worked with parent education, trying to develop parents to be better sporting parents. Usually at the request of national federations, different sports and coaches. They say, look, the parents are driving me mad. The parents are always trying to coach. The parents are such negative influences. This is a worldwide issue. And it hasn't changed much in the last 25 years since I started doing them for Swimming Australia back in 91, 92. So here's an opportunity for you. POD, point of difference. Why can't New Zealand be the one place in the world that gets it right? What I've seen here over the last 2 days, the connection, the feeling, the experience of culture, the discussions around oneness, people working together as a team, the spirit and the feeling that you get here right across the country. And I've been very lucky over the last few years to work in Invercargill, Dunedin, Christchurch, right around the country on several occasions. I don't see any reason why New Zealand cannot set the standard for collaboration between athlete, coach and parent. If you get it right, it's a distinct advantage because no one's got it right. In every country, they still do parent education and they talk about parent development manuals and they run seminars. No one's got it right yet. It is still a global issue. But right now, I believe there's an opportunity for someone to grab this opportunity and turn it around, do it differently. Why can't it be you? Why can't it be New Zealand? I don't see any reason why not. And certainly the attendance that we've had with the parent education seminars around the country would indicate that you've got a lot of parents there who are desperately keen to work with you as coaches and help the athletes achieve their potential. Thank you very much.